God damn it. Hector? Turn on the lights. I think I finally have something I want to talk about. In spite of all the mishaps going on in my life, I always find myself getting dragged back into these sort of discussions. Topics like this never really siphons out of my brain. It's like a goddamn impending shower thought, or one of those world-reaching conversations you have with yourself at 3 a.m. And with Sonic, it's always been like that. Couldn't escape the blue fucker even if I tried. But what can I say? It's an interesting ride to be a part of. Constantly seeing the uphills and downhills of this franchise, and arguments and takes from different parts of the fanbase is honestly more of a valid reason to stick around. Or maybe I just have a soft spot for old Porcupine Blue here. Kinda hard to fall off of a series like this after being a part of it for so long. But golly, sometimes am I goddamn tempted to. I mean, there's no denying that the quality of these games have been more or less hit or miss over the past decade or so, with most of these games being a light to heavy miss. It seems like every time Sonic Team has a decent working formula, or something that should stick, they always seem to double back on themselves like a goddamn debater with no confidence. They lack consistency. But sometimes I can't even really blame them on those decisions when their fanbase literally has fingers up their nostrils. Say you couldn't appease those numbskulls even if their life depended on it. Which is why I'm here, standing here today, 5 years later, with Sonic Team's newest attempt at once again reinventing its own will with Sonic Frontiers. Not gonna lie, I honestly had no idea how to feel about this next project. I vividly remember hearing speculation on this game even before it was officially announced on Sonic Central in 2021. Can't you believe this shit used to be called Sonic Rangers? Yeah, I was there. It was being labeled as this open zone experience, which Izuka and higher-ups would lead you to believe. But I mean, this sort of concept isn't really too far-reaching for a Sonic game. It honestly makes sense for them to go into this sort of direction moving forward. I think I was just a little bit more petrified by the idea that Sonic Team was making it. This is something they've never done before. It was a reinvention of the Sonic experience, and an ambitious one at that. But how many times have we been down that road already? But you know what? I decided I was gonna just shut my yap before jumping to any conclusions and let this game show what ideas it had to offer. And what it showed actually looked pretty promising. Well, as promising as a children's talent show, but there's no denying that this game looks stunning. I don't think we've had graphics this good in a Sonic game since Unleashed. And that was 13 years and 5 Sonic games ago. Shit didn't even look like a Sonic game. Where was he? Where's his friends? What are all these titans he was fighting? Where's Eggman? And who's this ghost girl everyone keeps talking about? It definitely had my attention. Then months and a movie went by and we finally got our first real look at how Frontiers played. And, man. Where do I even begin with this shit? Like, what in the goddamn hell is even going on here? Sonic is just running around this grassy open sandbox, climbing up this tower and doing puzzles and shit. And all I could think about throughout this entire showcase was the abundance of floating rails and boost pads on the ground and floating platforms in the sky, and to top it all off, they weren't even rendering in on time. It was so jarring. It all looked like they had just spent a lazy afternoon just plastering a bunch of these assets around the map, because barely any of it looked like it was a part of the goddamn environment. Also, I don't know if the person behind the sticks was being a jackass or something, but Sonic did not look fun to control in this environment at all. He looked like he had fucking cinder blocks attached to his fucking legs and rods up his fucking ass or something. Some of his animations weren't even finished. And it didn't even just affect him. Just look at this seagull. God rest his soul. Was I supposed to be flattered here? Am I supposed to be jumping for joy and partying hard like it's spring break? No. This is unacceptable. Like, this is what 5 years of development gets us? Really? Now look, to be fair, this is probably an earlier build of the game. It's not really too far-fetched for a video game company to release beta or even pre-alpha footage to build up hype. But why would you decide to show it off like this? They could have made a trailer, spliced up a couple of highlights or something, or just had somebody give us an explanation of what the hell was even going on here. Any level of marketing could have done this game wonders, but no. They decided to throw us in like we're yesterday's garbage. And then they have the nerve, the audacity to tell us that we don't know what this game is. Assholes! Of course, we don't know what this game is. It's almost like it's your job to tell us what the hell you are selling us. This was obviously not a very good first impression. And even with the IGN showcases and interviews that followed after, it still didn't hook me onto this game any more than it tried to do with its first showcase. It had cool ideas and puzzles and had that diamond in the sky. Don't get me wrong. And it already blows forces out of the water. Not that that was much of a challenge, but honestly, I didn't know how to perceive this game after this. It wasn't bad, but it certainly wasn't good either. If anything, it made me a whole lot more petrified for this project than I ever was before. And if Sonic Team had any chance of winning me and a lot of angry Sonic fans back, they would have to do a lot of polishing. And I mean a lot. Because from here on out, this was bad. Until it wasn't. Yeah, what happened? 1 second everyone in a 1,000-mile radius is burning frontiers at the stake, and now everyone's praising it like it's the second coming of Jesus. What in Satan's hell kind of witchcraft did Sonic Team conjure to get this much praise back? Well, it seems like during the latter half of June, Sega released some more gameplay footage of Frontiers, and even a closed demo for journalists during the Summer Games Fest. And after the overwhelmingly positive reception the demo received from critics and journalists, and even more positive acclaim from the fans, Frontiers suddenly started skyrocketing in popularity again. And for the right reasons this time. Honestly, I gotta give credit where credit's due. This footage looks a whole lot better than the shit show that we got weeks prior. The game was running at a smooth 60, the combat and puzzles looked a lot more engaging, Sonic's movement and animation seemed to have been fixed as well. It just looked like things were actually polished here. Why they didn't show this from the start is beyond me. Probably would have saved them a few fucking jabs, goddamn, but nevertheless, this was a good starting point for things to come. Then we got our first real look at the long-awaited cyberspace levels, and they look pretty solid. They're pretty much what I expected, Generations/Forces-esque levels that weren't too long and don't really take up too much from the main game. But so many people had a problem with these levels because of 1. The time limit for some reason, and 2. The reuse of stage designs and layouts from previous games. And look, I can get behind the fact that bringing back Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant, and even Sky Sanctuary for that matter, wasn't the greatest idea conceptualized, especially going off of Sega's long history for trying to tickle at people's nostalgia bones. But what I can't get behind is the opinion that Sonic Team is in the wrong for reusing stage layouts for cyberspace. First and foremost, I got no goddamn clue how people are so genetically attuned with Sonic to the point where they can call shit out like this. Like, how do you look at some random Sonic level with the tropes that could make up any Sonic level and think to yourself, man, you know what? This is the exact same layout as Windmill Isle Act 1. Like, I thought I was fucking crazy, but this takes the cake. I generally don't see the real issue with Sonic Team reusing levels for cyberspace. I'm probably the minority of people that think it's cool that they're reusing level layouts from previous games. Can it be argued that it's lazy? Yeah. Could they have made a lot more unique stages? I guess. But at the end of the day, these stages are completely optional. They are literally the equivalent to special stages from previous games. Little things to help you pass the time when you're not going for the main objective. Heck, you don't even have to touch cyberspace to beat the full game. So I think I can at least forgive Sonic Team for doing this shit. I mean, there's so much more that this game has to offer that I honestly think more than makes up for it. And in the months following, we got to see a whole lot more of that. I wasn't kidding when I said there was a whole lot to unpackage here. We got to see a whole lot more of Starfall Islands and even glimpses of this new desert-like canyon called Ares Island. We got to see more enemy types and bosses, details and cutscenes, and even glimpses of this new villain named Sage. Sonic's movesets and attacks seem to be more fleshed out than meets the eye. There are these sliders that allow you to change Sonic's speeds and physics, so if you wanted to make Sonic play how he did in Adventure or how he played in Generations/Forces, heck, even Lost World, you could do that, and I think that's badass. The story sounds like it's on the right track. Even Roger's voice sounds a lot more refined in this game. The soundtrack sounds killer. You fight titans as Super Sonic. You can fish with Pig the Cat. Do I have to say more? It's just good. It's damn good. For the first time in a good while, I am actually excited for a Sonic game. Like, I want to play this. And that is a refreshing feeling, if I do say so myself. And I could care less if Frontiers isn't the best Sonic game in the world. In fact, I don't even expect this shit to win any awards or get any standing ovations or anything like that. But I can confidently say that whatever product hits those shelves when it releases will be a good product. Obviously, I can't give an accurate rating just yet, that'd just be unfair, so I'll probably make a follow-up video of some sorts giving my overall final thoughts on the entirety of this game, but honestly at this point I can't see anything that could possibly get in the way of all this traction. Oh fuck.